One of the key differences or distinctions between a successful business and a business that is still struggling to discover or find an element of certainty with their client attraction processes is the belief or the certainty they have in that formula that brings clients into their world. Today, I want to take a moment to give you an update on where I'm at in uncovering my own unique formula in this marketing world. I want to share with you the certainty that I do have in my bark process. And I want to talk to what my goals are, what the next step is that I want to work towards in uncovering what that formula is for me. Don't worry if this doesn't make sense just yet. It will as we get into this episode. If you're someone that has been struggling with productivity and finding a way to feel fulfilled at the end of each day, my continuous improvement daily planning checklist may be exactly what you need to give your day the boost that it needs. It's been specifically designed for entrepreneurs and business owners, particularly working from home, really move the needle forward in each of the areas of life that are most important to you. If this sounds interesting, simply let me know and I'll shoot it straight through. Absolutely no questions asked. It's my free gift to you. Hello, and welcome back to the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. My name's Paul Heron. I'm a life coach and entrepreneur who has spent the last 5 years building up a successful coaching business. I didn't always do coaching. I come from the corporate world originally, where I specialized in process development, continuous improvement. And the thing that I've discovered is that those exact same skills and that exact same mindset that I developed in the corporate world applies to our personal lives, it applies to our businesses, and it applies to everything that we do. So this challenge, this podcast challenge is my latest attempt at pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Over the last 5 years, while I was building my business, I did predominantly outsource my marketing. I recently decided that this is the year that I'm going to master this stuff. And I committed to a challenge of creating and posting and uploading a podcast episode every single day for the next 12 months to not only document my journey, but to give you guys a little bit of an insight into the ups and downs along the way. So without any further ado, let's get into today's episode where I will talk about our unique formula for client attraction and how important it is to work towards developing a sense of certainty around that. And I think the best place to start for me might be to highlight the certainty I have in my existing process. So if you've been following along, you'll know that I am trying to move away from a process that I currently use, where I am buying leads, starting conversations that way, and moving those conversations into sales calls and into clients into my business. And there's a few different reasons why I'm deciding to make this move. And I've been into detail on those reasons in previous episodes, and I don't want to take up that time today, but I have decided that for me at this stage, really gaining an understanding of what my message needs to be, the challenges that my perfect client are going through, and finding a way to be able to market my message, have them become aware of who I am and start conversations in a way that I feel empowered and responsible for. That's the goal. But right now, I have a process that I can trust and rely on. And it is, for the last 3 years, it's been very stable in terms of what that formula looks like. I know that it's about 12 leads. Every 12 leads I buy from bark.com, I will start a basic conversation or a conversation of any description with about 7 to 8 of those leads that I purchase. So there's an element of, there's 4 leads or so I will never talk to. So 8 conversations. I'll be able to move about 4 of those conversations into a sales call. And every 4 sales calls, I'll have 1 fully paying customer to my high ticket one-on-one coaching program come into my business, which is awesome. I now, with that knowledge, I have an element of certainty that if I can work backwards. I can work out what I need to bring into my business, and I can work backwards, and I know how many leads I need to buy. And I know that if I do the work, if I do everything that I've done in the past, on average, I will get the results I'm looking for. And it's a game changer. When we get to that place where we have that level of certainty, it changes everything. We're no longer struggling. We're now in a place where we can feel a little bit more stable. And that's exactly where I need to get to on this new challenge. Now, when I first started, I had absolutely no certainty at all. I didn't even have a strategy. I didn't really know what I was going to be or how I was going to get this all to come together. I knew what I wanted. I knew the ultimate goal. I just had to get started. And here we are now, 78 days in also. And I think it's 78 anyway. And I now am starting to put a couple of those pieces together. So first and foremost, I've come up with a strategy, or the strategy that I'm going to use. And that strategy basically is providing value or producing value-based content. So 5, 6, 7 out of every 8 posts will be purely value-driven. Now, I want to create longer form videos between 3 and 5 minutes. The strategy is around getting as many as my perfect client to take notice of these videos and start watching these, hopefully getting a ton of value along the way. The strategy is about targeting the people who have watched at least 25% of those videos and starting to retarget those people who have viewed the longer form videos with reels, with shorter form videos that are purely designed to get them to be interested in a really small solution that I can provide to one of the challenges that they're having. And, as a strategy, as a hypothesis, I guess you could call it at this stage, because it's not quite proven for me just yet. But as a hypothesis, that's the strategy that I am working towards right now. I'm open-minded. It's open to and subject to change as I see fit. But that is what I've been able to come up with to this point. So with that in mind, what does the formula that I'm trying to get to the bottom of look like? And what I need to consider is, okay, how much of those, if I'm doing it organically, that's obviously a time investment. I've chosen to put a little bit of advertising on Facebook behind some of these longer term videos. That's longer form videos. That's where I'm at the moment. And where I've managed to get myself to is a place where I'm getting 25% views for about 19 cents. So that's roughly 25% views for every $1, which means if I had a budget of $100 for that particular piece of the puzzle, I would be getting about 500 views per week, per month. For every 100, I get about 500 views, which is awesome. Now, this is the first piece of that formula coming together. So how much per view? I've got it down to, for every $100, I'm getting about 500 onto a list that I can then start to retarget. And that's the next piece of the puzzle that I haven't quite got to just yet. I have been testing a few reels with that offer to a cold audience, and I haven't got the number or the volume of comments that I was hoping for. But the way that this strategy really works is to retarget that invisible list of 25% views. I don't know who they are, but I know they're there, and I know Facebook and Instagram retain that information, which is awesome. But my next challenge is to start retargeting that and see how many people I can get interested in downloading these pieces of content that I'm going to try and provide. Very similar to the offer that I give at the start of these podcast episodes. That's what this is all about. It's not necessarily about giving the value or the actual document away. It really is about just initiating that first conversation. So that's the next step that I'm working towards. Hopefully in the coming month, I will have a little bit more to work with there. But this formula is already starting to take shape. So I know roughly how much, for $100, 500 views. The next piece of the puzzle will be, how many views do I need to get a download? And, I can start, once I start testing that, I'll start to gain a bit of knowledge around what that looks like. And again, wherever that lands, it'll be huge, because every single piece of this puzzle is continuously providing me feedback. It's providing me data, and it's providing me certainty, and it's giving me the direct line of sight to the things that I need to keep working on. What I know at the moment, I've got those video views down to 19 cents. I'm now thinking, how can I get it down to 10 cents? How can I produce better quality content that's going to allow that to get down to 5 cents? So there's a lot there for me to work on. This is all starting to take shape. So the way this formula, or the unknowns for me at this stage, still are, how many views am I going to need to get to X number of conversations? And the next step that I'm not yet at either is, how many conversations am I going to need to book in X number of sales calls? And with this particular method, how many sales calls am I going to need to get to X number of clients into my business? So it's very, very similar to the Bark process that I do have certainty on. I've got certainty on that. My goal is to get to a place where I've got certainty on this new way of going about things as quickly as I can. And it's exciting. From where I was, even 2 months ago, I had no idea at all how I was going to approach this. And now, with some of these pieces slowly starting to come together, it just really helps reinforce. I can clearly see what the next thing I need to focus my attention on is. And, I'm looking at this as a 2-3 month plan to at least get to that first iteration of knowing or having a formula that I can see works. And the first iteration, it might be, might absolutely need some work, but at least I'll be able to see where the breakdowns are. For example, my Bark process is roughly 4 sales calls for one paid client into my business. If I get to a place where I'm doing like 20 sales calls and no one's selling, I probably need to go back and refine my sales call message to this particular audience. It's just going to help. It's going to help what's required become much more visible just by collecting this information, collecting this data, and taking action on this stuff one piece at a time. I'm just super excited about going down this journey and continuing to see how this evolves and comes together. But this formula, this problem that I'm trying to uncover, problem I'm trying to solve, really is the key to this whole thing coming together. And I hope this makes sense, and I hope you guys can have a think about this from your own perspective. Even asking yourself that question of, how certain are you with that, your own formula? What does that look like? How many conversations do you need to start to move people into a sales call or a presentation? How many presentations do you need to complete to get people into your business? At a really high level, it could be just those 3 steps. You may have other steps in between. You may have different labels. It's going to be very different and very unique for us all. But if you have absolute certainty, awesome. Even with that certainty, you've got many places along that path where you can continue to refine. But just getting to that place where you have certainty is gold. I've got that with the Bark process, and that is my ultimate goal, to get here with this new challenge that I'm committing myself to. I'm going to leave it there for today. Hopefully you've got some value from this conversation. I know, once again, just me talking this stuff out is hugely beneficial for me. If you've got any feedback at all, I would love to hear from you. So reach out and let me know. The best place to find me is to head over to my website. It's paulheronlifecoaching.com. There's a few different ways you can reach out. Remember as well, if you are looking for a way to improve your productivity, to get to the end of the day and feel more fulfilled with everything that you've got on, my continuous improvement 5-minute checklist may be exactly what you need to get yourself started. It's a simple 4-step process. It'll take you less than 5 minutes per day. And as I say, all you need to do is let me know. It's a completely free gift to you. And yeah, just reach out, let me know, and it's all yours. Finally, if you're getting value from this podcast, I would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. It really does help promote the show and share the show with a wider audience. So if you can hit subscribe, I will be in debt to you forever. So thank you for that. And finally, hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now.